on, guys? Welcome to the first episode of what we're gonna call the Roll Road. Now, I'm gonna be your main host here, Windu the Mace, of course. We got our other co-host, A Kick in the Head, followed by our guest host, Volduin, and he's going to be our beginner for the day in this series as we do our best to, quite frankly, just show you guys tips and tricks about how to improve as a beginner moving on forward, and hopefully you guys can learn as much as Volduin is about to here. And let's get it going now. Kick, what's our first subject, man?
We're moving on now to talking about fighting with and without minions and the difference of having minions on your side and the difference that makes with your fights.
Now, would you say you do this a lot? I'm curious. Be real with me. Don't lie to me. Okay.
No. No.
So
I go right through the minions chasing people. Yeah.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. No, we were talking about getting destroyed by the minions early on. They're the greatest enemy. Yeah. I know that way too much now.
So look at this clip here. This is honestly a perfect example. Now, granted, this is a pretty stacked minion wave at this point, but this is a really, really, really good example of the fact that the enemy duo lane. Well, I mean, no, just
it's a good point though. Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, just look at the mindset here, right? Like the Twin Blast is showing up, he's by himself, and he goes for that ward, and there's the enemy duo lane. You feel me? In their mind, they see level 3 Twin Blast, they got a level 3 Sparrow and a level 2 support. Who's gonna win that fight? 9 times out of 10, that's a good pick. It really is. If you can avoid those minions and get that kill, that's not a bad pick. You might be able to do that. But here's what happens. Immediately the fight starts. The minions start coming up. Now notice what happens here. There go the minions. What does Kick do immediately? He puts himself behind the minions. He puts the minions between them. Worst comes to worst, if that basic attack is just a tad bit too low, it's gonna hit the head of a minion, right? At the worst, all those minions are now within range to do that damage. And if he even takes a step back here, they're forced to almost go through the minions to get to him, because at this point they're committed. That support's about to die. They're committed as shit. You feel me? So in their mind, they're like, yo, we gotta kill him. But the minions are doing such consistent damage. You see, Kick is legit just landing finishing shots, basically. He lands consistent shots, but he doesn't even hold left click. I want you to pay attention here as to that Sparrow's health. Where it goes, like she's at 3/4. Look at that health while he's focused on Muriel. Watch it. Focused on Muriel, he hasn't hit the Sparrow. Now he just hit the Sparrow, but she was already at a 1/3. She lost half of her life to minions and didn't even notice. So then he's literally like, okay, so hits one. He actually, and this is low-key BM by you, by the way, Kick. He actually stares at her getting killed by minions and then last hits her. He doesn't even shoot again. Watch this shit. This is total BM. This man hits her. Watch. It's like melt, 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 melt. Okay, last hit. He stared at her when he could have hit her. Just because he's like, yo, she's getting fucked up. Look at that shit. Like, that's a great example. But it's one of those things that my general rule of thumb is, unless I have a 2 minion difference or 2 minion advantage, I typically don't like to engage. And if I'm going to engage, you'll see me throw Twin Blast grenades, Sparrow Hail from the heavens, whatever it's called. You'll see me do something to clear those minions out faster, preferably the range ones, just so they don't hit me from a distance. But if it's 6 minions versus 6 minions, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fight this right now. This is risky. If it's their 6 versus my 5, I'm not touching that shit. I'm backing the fuck up.
Kick, out of curiosity here. I know it's only like, okay, 4 minutes, 50 seconds in. Were they not farming? Like, how did you have 17 minions? My goodness, like, this is a monstrosity of a wave.
So if I remember correctly, I had frozen the wave on my side.
Yeah.
And then whenever I backed, the lanes accumulated. If you see, I've got three siege minions there. So
there's 3-4 waves right there.
I was starving them that whole time, and then as I backed, they accumulated. And the audio in this clip, I say, I got to get back to lane. I don't want them to get this farm. So I knew that I just wanted to deny them all of that farm right there. So I picked the fight. And I knew that I could win this fight primarily because I had 2 sieges and, 20 minions right there?
3 waves, basically. Now, since he mentions that, actually, a very good point to bring up is the fact that he froze the lane and he accumulated his minions while only last hitting theirs. Essentially, effectively, what he did is he controlled his positioning to the extremities, because by freezing the wave, he didn't overextend. He started accumulating minions on his half of the lane. So then the enemy team has a choice. Either we overextend and get this farm, or we play it back and lose the farm. And as you can see here, they decided to play it back, play it safe, and there were a lot of minions. And Kick capitalized the fact that he had all those minions, the fact that they were playing it safe, because the one moment they decided to go aggressive was the wrong moment to go aggressive, because Kick literally had a little mini army chasing him at this point. You feel me? And that made the difference. Now the ADC got 2 extra kills. He was at 1, now he's at 3. And just to look at the gold difference, he was at 600 gold before that engagement. First kill, he automatically went to 1,000. Second kill, 1,350. So you can see that that support hadn't died in a while, and she was worth more. You see what I'm talking about there? How sometimes the variety, like if a kill is worth it, it's worth going for. And it was one of those things that out of both of those, he was able to double the gold that he had. And right now he's sitting at 1,300 and he doesn't even have boots. If he's forced to back, now he has guaranteed boots. Worst comes to worst, the way that lane is going, he probably took that tier 1 tower and then backed from there to get items right before wrap, because this is about the 5-minute mark. So he still has time to take that tower and then back to grab everything at the 7-minute mark. So this is a perfect example of when to take advantage of things, when to manipulate the lane, and actually control your own positioning within actual lane farming. You follow? Now,
an easy thing that I like to think about, whether that lane's pushing or pulling towards you, is you'll have the crash of your siege minions, where that wave, one of your team siege minions will die, either yours or theirs, depending on the aggro of the minions, right? If your siege minion stays alive, it's gonna push towards them. If their siege minion, or vice versa. So if yours dies, it's gonna continue pulling towards you. But if yours stays alive, it'll push towards them.
So if you want to freeze it, you should take out, like, if it's in front of your tower and you don't want to push it in, you should take out their siege if yours is gone.
No. So you want to try to keep yours alive as long as possible. I like to leave that siege minion alive, though. So I'll kill the frontliners and the range minions, and then I'll just leave that guy. I'll leave that siege minion to get beat on.
That siege minion can tank so much.
Yeah, because those guys have so much health. But having a siege or not having a siege is an easy way to identify which way that lane's going to push for you in the next 2 minutes.
And for those of you that don't know, the siege is the mini Hulk looking guy in the back of the lane that's just buff as shit with a hand cannon. He looks like a little mini Murdock walking around with him. But I mean, honestly, if anything, also another way, just count. Real shit, just count. If you got 6 minions and their wave is at 7, sweet. That's still pushing towards you. You can freeze that. If you got 7 minions and they got 4, get ready. Your lane's about to push out, because the minion difference makes the difference. You follow?
Yeah.
Now, let's hit the next segue here, because I feel like the next one is actually very important too.
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to be discussing now is the communication as an ADC. Whether you're on voice comms or it's a random support.
Yeah. So here's one thing that you were talking about. if you're on voice comms, you feel like you can be a little bit more aggressive. You can be a little bit more aggro, right? A little bit more death ball. What's the term that we use? So you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. When you're able to communicate, it definitely makes a difference. But a lot of people got to be mindful that you can still convey a pretty good message with in-game comms. Like, how often do you use in-game comms, Vol? Be real with me. Like,
not often, because I always 5-stack until recently. So I'm trying to get better at the ping system.
So be honest with me here. Besides attack left lane and attack right lane, attack mid lane, or attack raptors or whatever, how often do you use the rest of the wheel?
Hardly ever. Like, I never say sorry.
I mean, okay, so
that has to go in.
right?
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Realistically, if you're an ADC and your supports are random, if you ping ultimate ready, follow me. As a support, what do you think your support's gonna say? You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, your support's probably gonna be like, oh shit, my ADC is about to go in. So sometimes just taking that split second of in the middle of the game, say ultimate ready, follow me, might be more beneficial than saying attack left lane. Because they have no idea what you're planning to do. You feel me?
Yeah, I have to get better at the ping system for sure. My typing is very lackluster, so I actually lose more time typing than if I actually got very proficient at the ping system.
Yeah, man.
I recommend pinging even in your 5 stacks. I don't care if I'm playing by myself or with a group of the buddies that I play with every day. I ping because we're sitting here chit-chatting about what was good for lunch, but I want to make sure that everyone can see on their screen 2 or 3 times, you know, missing right, missing mid, missing left, attack right, because especially as the jungler, it's frustrating if you're in a 5 stack and you rotate for a gank and oh, sorry, man, I didn't see you there. And you're like, what are you talking about? You know, I needed that knock up. So you got to make sure you ping that stuff. Make sure you get those visual cues for people playing the game, even in your stack. And then once you transition to solo, it's just as easy.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this, though. Let's say you do have the advantage of being in voice comms. Like, the reason why we got this clip up on the screen is because it's a very good example of how we turned a 3v2 into our favor because of the communication that we use, how we communicated, and how we were able to execute everything, and the focus on people. Because that's one of the main things that people honestly take for granted. Like, the best part about being able to talk to people is you tell them, focus this guy. Like, you know how easy it would be to kill somebody if all 5 people are hitting that one person, regardless if they're a tank or not? If all 5 people are hitting that one person, it changes the fight, because as soon as possible, that turned into a 4v5. And now you tell them to focus the next person and the next person. Now I'm gonna start it here from the beginning. I'm gonna play a little bit of audio, but I want you, Vol, to primarily listen to the communication between me and the support, and listen to what me as a carry, how I'm taking the lead in the communication, because I am the damage dealer. The support has to play off of me, and how, and I want to hear your feedback afterwards as to some of the things that you notice in this clip.
GG.
Like, I'm noticing that Charlie is 4 and their Sevarog is like 5.
Sevarog's coming, watch out.
Good poke, good poke. You want to kill him? He's only 4, he's only 4. It's an easy kill right here. Good kill, good kill. Focus and steal, focus and steal, focus and steal. We get him out of there. She's an easy pick, because she's gonna follow, she's gonna follow. Oh, that's a good ult. You got an ult? You got an ult? Heard, I'm ulting myself. Like my ult. He's dead. Let's punish this, let's punish this. Come on.
Yep, I have no mana. Low mana.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I got that. Let's go. Good job.
GG.
Good fucking job.
Right there.
You feel me? Now, what are some of the things that you noticed personally in that clip?
You were not out of position to begin the fight, I would say, when the Seb was there, but he made a conscious decision to actually go in. And then you but you were on the same page as Muriel. And then you preemptively knew you needed it all, so you actually called for it. I would say those are the main things I noticed.
Okay. So
And then even Dakota said that he's ulting you and that he's out of mana too. Not that it really mattered that much, but it still was something he told you. You know, if you had to get out,
yeah.
you knew he didn't have like mana.
Now I want you to like let's take a step back, because right now we're analyzing this as far as like a play in general, right? I want you to take a step back and think, hey, as an ADC that's leading the fight, let's just go down the things that we talked about. My positioning. Now, you mentioned it only towards the beginning, but what's going on with my positioning in this specific moment? Like,
I mean, you're moving away from their Sparrow towards the person you're targeting.
Exactly. I'm still targeting the steal because he's chasing, but simultaneously I'm doing two things. I'm getting away from their Sparrow so she can't lay consistent damage on me while I'm doing consistent damage to steal. I tell my support, because you can audibly hear it, keep going. She has to follow, because the steal is still committed.
I noticed other things though, and this is something I noticed in my own.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's my own fault when I play.
Okay.
I always focus, or I try to focus the enemy carry or the mages. That's what I always go after, because I figure I have to be the one to melt them, and I avoid the tanks and the people to everyone else, basically our tanks, to peel them off of me. And I think what that ends up doing is my positioning gets messed up. Like, I dive way too deep trying to get to their Sparrow or whoever their ADC is, and then I just get I get attacked by 5 people. So it's my own fault. But like here, you take out 2 tanks before you get to even the ADC at the end.
And that happens to a lot of people. You'd be surprised. I'd say that's probably one of the most common mistakes that happens to an ADC. Because
I'd be focusing the Sparrow right in that fight. That's what I would have been doing. I would have lost.
And I'll tell you why that is not a favorable outcome in this specific situation. Because if I would have focused a Sparrow, I know for a fact that the steal and Sparrow are focused on me. And then if I were to focus a Sparrow, and if I tell my support hit the Sparrow, now we're focused on them. At best, that just turned into a 50-50 fight. Who can land the most hits? Who can land the most abilities? Who can be the most consistent, right? And that's what I see that a lot of people actually do the most. But you got to realize that by working on our positioning here, see, as soon as I noticed that I got thumped and she was chasing, and then I got pushed over, dive deeper. And I let my support know, keep going, she has to follow. Because if not, it's a 1v2 and we're winning it easy. And that's why I say keep focusing the steal, because now that the steal is dead, what is she gonna do? Where is she gonna go? And he tells me, I got no mana, I can't stun her, I can't do anything. And I'm like, you're fine. We baited her to come into the jungle. That whole time she was doing minimal damage, and now she was a...
I lost you.
You muted yourself.
I muted myself?
You're good.
Yeah,
now.
we lost audio, but we could hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's just a Discord problem, I guess. But notice here as far as when the steal dies, that moment that Sparrow knew she fucked up, dead, and then right here, now it's a 2v1. The reason why we won that fight isn't because we did 2v1 against a random person and we focused. It's because we did 2v1 against the right person and did our best to eliminate one from the equation as much as possible. Because for most of that fight, Sparrow was swinging, but it was a 2v1 versus steal. And once we knew steal was about to get melted, once I popped that ult, you easily then quickly saw how right here we're backing. I got ulted. Here comes a mirror ult. And my ult, bam, he's getting melted. And here we know, bam. Like, I already knew the next shot was going to kill him based on the damage that I applied previously. So I waited for him to land. As soon as I landed that, I can see exactly where that sparrow is on my screen. I know my head in the stream is blocking it, but I can see her on the left side of the screen. So then immediately what you see is flick right on her. And that moment she knew, oh shit, it's a 2v1. But because she got baited. But because she almost needed to follow into that fight. Like any ADC, if it's a 2v2, you can't just sit back there and be like, nah, I ain't doing it, bro. And at this point, their jungler isn't even honestly seen. So this is actually no, their jungler was Sevrog, excuse me. So we killed their jungler. We're safe. We know we're safe. You feel me? Yeah. But what we do is we bait her in, control the fight, and then the 2v1, even though I'm a third health, it doesn't matter how low I am here, because even though I have less health than her, both of us landing hits is going to melt her life way faster than just her hitting me. Because that damage output is almost doubled in that early game round, you feel me? And you see me and the Muriel both melt her, and then one ability. Bam. So take advantage of that, but it's going to be one of those things that, especially as a carry, you want to take control and you want to try and make it as an unfair fight for them as possible. If it's a 50-50 fight, it's not, that doesn't mean it's favorable. It's literally in the air, hooligan shit. And here we turned it from something unfavorable to something favorable by isolating individuals, by specifically focusing on people, and with our positioning. So much to the point that even here, after the steal dies, I got a level off of it. And you're gonna notice where I'm right here chasing, right before I even continue forward, I even upgraded my E because I had time. Like, that level difference just means that for that moment of the fight, I started doing more damage for no damn reason, just because I hit a level. But I wouldn't have been able to hit that level if I didn't get those 2 kills. So that level could have been a difference maker. There's a lot of things that go into it. But let's talk about the next subject.
So we're going to talk about initiating next. But I do want to add a point before we get past it. You said that you like to focus the carry the most. I just want you to try to focus on when you die as the carry, who's actually killing you. Think about that a little bit, and it might actually change your perspective on who's the most important person for you to fight. Because I know whenever I'm carry, the Greystone kills me most of the time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but then like, why am I targeting a Greystone when all my damage is going to him? When like I could prioritize taking people out of the fight. That's what my I mean, I understand it now. But that's what my point always was. It's like, you know, well, if I can get the squishier people out, and then my tanks could clear up Greystone or something like that, or I don't know, with my mage, because I'm gonna get focused no matter what. So Greystone will just immediately hop on Seb, will hop right on you. There's not much you can do, even
You're
steal.
right. So like, if you're in the situation where you're all the way in the back of your line, and you know the Greystone jumps in on you, but you're the furthest person away from the fight, and then everyone just turns and looks at Greystone. Odds are, if all 5 of you
That's a 5v1.
properly execute the fight on Greystone, you kill him, or you at least get his ult down, while you guys are continuing to back up towards safety on your side, and you can kill him and take out the person who's killing you most of the time before the rest of the fight even happens.
Yeah.
And there's a tiny little thing to focus on too when you say that, because I get you. That's usually the mindset. Kill the squishies, which ultimately is the goal. But there's one little simple fact that a lot of people forget about. How are you going to kill the squishies if you're dead?
Sure.
How are you going to kill anybody if you're dead? And that's where that positioning comes in. My general rule of thumb is stay the fuck away, to be honest. That's my general rule of thumb. Because like in this clip that I'll show you here, you're going to be able to see that we're under tower. They're rushing. There's a Gideon ult. But what am I doing here? I'm not focusing on their squishies.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on their tank. And then right here, I notice I just got rooted. Here's one thing that I want you to see. I personally overextended because I thought that my team was going to follow with me. Because I saw right there, I saw a steal and a chimera running forward.
Yep.
So in my eyes, they got my back.
Yep.
I'm here, still under tower, but then I realize I just got rooted. Here comes a Sevrog diving in. So immediately, what do? I take a step back until I can see, and I'm focusing the closest person to me, keeping everybody else away. Focusing the closest person to me, and as soon as I see that my team is there, the Quang and the Steel, I'm like, okay. So now it's a 3v3. Bet. I move up a little bit because I know I'm going to want to continue, but mainly because look at this chunk that I just took in one hit from that Boris.
Yeah.
As soon as I realize that he's a dead man, I do 2, 3, and then I turn on them because I know I can win a fight a lot easier versus the squishies than I could versus the tanks. But that entire fight, my priority was just to deal consistent damage from as far away as possible, while making sure that I'm not too far away to where they can literally walk away. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just comes down to the fact that the squishies might not be the best choice for you. All the damage that I laid on this tanky ass Sevrog for 30 seconds was the difference between us winning that fight or not. Because if it would have been just my team, maybe they wouldn't have melted him as fast. Maybe while I'm focused on them, that Sevrog would have fucked me up under tower, ulted me towards his allies, rooted me, I'm dead. Because I gave him the freedom. You follow?
Yep.
And which actually comes to the next subject that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so now we're talking about when to disengage and the importance of that.
Like how many fights are you in and you just say I'm getting hit, but you just say send it, I'm getting this kill. I'm at least dying before I get that kill. How many times have you been in a fight and you're like, I know this is not going to go well, but I'm taking somebody down with me? Can you even count those?
I think I have about 100% uptime on that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't get the kill. Yeah, that's the difference. I don't get the kill. I'm like, there's 3 low people, I'm going in.
Well, but here's the thing. Even if you got that kill, or like even if you went in and killed one person, be like, yeah, I still got a kill. My KD's good. But here's the thing. I just want you to be mindful. Like, let's say you killed a squishy. You just took maybe 1,500 of their health away, right? Because this is more towards late game. I got 1,800 health bar right now as a twin. Let's say you did kill that squishy, but now instead of doing 1,500, instead of only doing 1,500 damage in that fight, if you would have stayed back and just shot the tank, now in that fight, instead of 1,500 damage, you did 7,000 damage because you consistently applied damage. Now, as far as your team fight goes, as far as winning as a team, because you can see here, 33 to 45, and they're at our inhibs. We're losing. We are losing this fight. But by proper positioning and doing consistent damage to everybody, not just one person, it made the difference in the team fight. You get what I'm saying? And that's something that a lot of ADCs have to be mindful of. Just because you can get a kill doesn't mean that you should. Because at worst, if they're low enough, you're causing them to disengage. You get me? So by you disengaging at the right time, you can continue applying proper damage. And hell, maybe they have to back you, turned it into a 4v5 anyway. Disengaging is one of the most crucial things as an ADC. Because you have to know when to go in, when to initiate that fight, and when to back out. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be entirely crucial, and one of the easiest ways to know is, do you see any green health bars in front of you? That's my rule of thumb, and that's what you saw me do here. I'm chill. I see green health bars. Bing! I realized as soon as I got rooted here, I'm like, shit. Like, uh-oh. And you can see I'm going full sweat mode because I'm licking my lips. You can see I'm going full sweat mode, and I realize I fucked up. So then I gotta back up. back up. I see green health bars. Okay, we can go back in. That's my visual cue to be like, no, yeah, no, okay. Like literally, green, go. No green, back the fuck up. It's a fucking stoplight in this bitch, bro. If I don't see green, I'm not fucking going forward. You get me?
Yeah.
And that's just little things that could honestly make the difference. Which actually, since we're on this clip, let's go ahead and hit the next subject.
Since we just told you to run away from fights, we're going to talk to you about how to follow up engagements.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because it matters. It matters. You feel me? Like whenever you're in that moment, when to follow up, when to go in. Now, I kind of hit on that. My general rule of thumb is green health bars, right? But I want you to focus on the back end of right here. The fact that we just killed the Boris, and I notice how much I melt him while the Boris is in front. Because look at the tower positioning. The Boris is still relatively in front of me in this tower. As soon as I notice, I just took a third of his health bar. What do? Position for the next shot. I'm now behind that Boris. Next shot goes through. Bam. But what do I immediately do? Where's that crosshair at?
Sparrow.
I immediately follow up because I know that a carry and a steal, regardless if he's low health, are more impactful than just a Sparrow and a Bellica. Dude, I got a lot more CC, but even worse comes to worse. How much crowd control do they have between those two?
Just Bellica. Really?
Just Bellica.
Just Bellica's knockup.
Yep. And can that knockup be avoided by reading her body language?
Oh yeah, they do. A lot of people do it. I can do that all the time usually.
Yeah. So here's the first thing I do. Even though I'm looking at Sparrow, what's the first thing that I want to bait so I'm safe in this engagement? The knockup.
That knockup, and then you're fine. Then you just
So
more
what-
shots.
So what do I immediately do in the moment? Boop. We're switching to this. Wait. Aha. I waited for that particle. Because here's the thing. You see me standing still right in front of her. Or not standing still, I'm moving. But you see me directly in front of her.
Yeah.
As soon as I notice, because you can read positioning, right? Like, the way in my mindset was, if this Bellica just got hit and she's running away, why in the world would she from 2 feet away stop to turn towards me?
Jeez, she leaps. Holy.
No, yeah. She got hops, bro.
She hops.
She got hops. But right here, why would that Bellica from point blank range, when I got a steal, stop and stare at me? Because she wants to land that stun.
Yeah.
So immediately what I do there is I know this is coming, immediate sidestep, because I saw her look at me. And you see, I start sidestepping a split second before that animation kicks in, because I read it. And as soon as that animation's down, guess who's a sitting duck right in front of me?
Bellica.
Bam. One more shot, bam. Now this is a 1v1. And again, reading the situation, how to follow up, how to engage. In a normal situation, if you can't control the outcome, this might not be favorable for you. Full health versus 3/4, you get me?
Yeah.
But notice what I do here and when I decide it's worth going in or not. I dash forward, I hurt. I get fucked up. So at this moment, I gotta decide, do I disengage or do I continue? I hit her once, I hit her twice, I sidestep. One thing that I notice here, and I'm gonna put the audio in, what can you tell about that Sparrow's basic attacks as soon as that Bellica died? Listen to her basic attacks here. That's that. You're dying too, come on. Let's go. What can you tell me?
Slower.
Well, you're not too far off from where I'm trying to go. She's literally holding left click. So what does that mean? I can time when her next shots are going to show up. You feel me? It's like right here. I notice she's holding it down. She just popped me. I land one. Let me actually play this in slower motion with no audio so we can go through it. So I land one, I sidestep, she shoots. I know when her next shot's gonna be, so what do? I strafe the opposite direction. Because I know the point where when that step is coming, and as soon as she shoots and she's going to overcorrect towards me, what do? I now swing the other way. You feel me? I'm baiting these basic attacks, but I'm making it so she has to swing one way to catch me. But as soon as she does, I'm already going the opposite way. I'm making myself a harder target. Once I realize that I have that advantage as to her aiming, because I read her basic shots, I was able to confirm like, hey, I can go in on this because it's more beneficial. You follow?
Yeah.
If I would have been right here, and I'm just in this situation, I dive in and I start sidestepping. If she hits one more shot here, in my mind, like if she would have hit a consistent shot, I would have been like, I need to fucking run away. And I might be able to run away, maybe in time for the dash, but I still got my steel with me, feel me? So I would have retreated a little bit. But just for the fact that I knew that based off of her gameplay and her style, like right here, she hasn't stopped shooting. Look, she lands a really good crit. I land. I know, I'm noticing. You know what? I can easily win this fight based off of me being able to control the situation. My positioning, even in the middle of a team fight, my positioning was what made the difference there, because I easily could have died with one more solid hit. You follow? And that's why these key features that we're trying to show and trying to help implement all the way from the beginning, like your positioning, when to back, when to go in, when to back out, all these key things are going to help you in the first 7 minutes. They're going to help you in the last 20 minutes. These are all basic principles that if you practice them and apply them consistently, you're going to be able to find success here. Now, this basically honestly wraps it up, but let's do this. Now, we have a little challenge for you, and we have a little challenge for everybody that's watching in general. And this is more of, because we're going to be doing beginner videos, because we're going to be doing intermediate videos, average videos, you know, average skill base, and then expert videos as well. This is going to be a good test of your skill. You're going to be able to do this challenge, and if you complete it, you know you're at least past the beginner part, and you can start focusing on the average. Now, Kick, if you could do us the favor, what's that challenge?
So our challenge for you guys is to last for the 7 minutes without dying, and then alongside that also maintain 30 CS within that 7 minutes. So I believe Windu said that you have 42 minions within that 7 minutes, so that gives you 2 waves that you can miss within the 7. But the big challenge of that being is not dying.
Yeah. So the 30 CS, the 7 minutes, and then honestly, let's add in there that at that 7 minutes, you should be backing to anticipate what happens forward, like we were talking about earlier. Because it really is one of those things that we want you to get prepared for what's coming, but we want you to properly set up for it as well. So if you can at least manage those 30 minion kills, and if you can at least manage not to die within 7 minutes, I promise you, as soon as that team fight comes up for ramp, which it will come up eventually, you're going to be much more prepared. You're going to be much more ahead, and you should hopefully, with proper positioning, of course, knowing when to engage, knowing when to disengage with practice, you should be able to easily win that first team fight. And once you do, your team's on a landslide from there. From there, it's just managing all those little steps as the match goes forward. But if anything, guys, thank you so much for watching. Kick, Vol, if you guys want to say goodbye, if you guys want to, you know, do a little plug-in, shout out.
Yeah, see ya. And thanks for your help, guys.
Yeah, for sure. And if anything, we're gonna be doing these videos because it's one of those things that even if you are experienced, it's very easy to sometimes forget about these little things because we're in that mindset of, hey, I know what I'm doing, I got this, but old habits die hard. It really is one of those things that sometimes going back to the basics and moving forward can make the difference in your gameplay and can be the difference between you being bronze all the way to gold, diamond, and above. Because those little minor differences are the ones that pay off late game. But if anything, guys, as always, till the next video.